mes élèves, aujourd'hui je suis avec ma fille qui aime lire. And today I want to talk to you about the words that we use in front of nouns.
In French, much like in English, the word you choose to use before a noun makes a difference in the meaning of your sentence. So to explain all of the different determiners, or words that precede a noun, we're going to take the example of livre, one of the most commonly used nouns that we used in French 1. And when we first learned the word livre in French 1, we learned un livre. The word un is actually an indefinite article. The English indefinite articles are a or an, or the word one. And in French, those equivalents are un, which we use in front of masculine objects, or une, which we use in front of feminine objects. To look at an example, tu as un livre, you have a book, or the same exact question could be translated as you have one book. Something else I wanted to point out with indefinite articles is that if you remember in negative sentences, after the word pas, you can't actually use un or une. They actually have to change to the word de or des apostrophes if the word that follows starts with a vowel. So to look at this example, tu n'as pas de livre, pourquoi? You don't have a book? Why? The word un has been changed to de because per the grammar rule, you can't have un after the word pas. Now another article that we learned in French 1 are definite articles. In English, that's the word the. But the French equivalent for the word the is either le for masculine objects, la for feminine objects, les for objects that are plural, and l'apostrophe for any singular object that starts with a vowel or a vowel sound. Oui, j'ai le livre de français. Yes, I have the French book. Le in front of the word livre means that I have the book, which is different than saying un livre, which is just simply a book. So having le in front of livre really changes the meaning of the sentence. Something else I want to point out, if you look at this example, il adore les livres. The English equivalent of this sentence would be he loves books. If you look at that English equivalent, we don't actually have the word the in our English version of this sentence. And that's because in French, you actually can never have a noun without an article in front of it. So when we would not include that article in our English sentence, the French would include the definite article. Often, definite articles, le, la, les, or l'apostrophe, are used with likes and dislikes. So when you talk about loving something or hating something, you will always use le, la, or les in front of the noun that you're talking about liking or disliking. Something else that we learned last year are numbers or expressions of quantity. If we have a sentence that includes a number, we don't actually use a definite or indefinite article. The number takes the place of those articles. So in this example, il y a deux livres, the number 2 has taken the place of le or un. There are 2 books. Or in this example where I have an expression, beaucoup de takes the place of le or la. Now in both of these examples with numbers or expressions of quantity, we don't actually have to be concerned with the gender of the noun. We just use the number or the expression with the word de. Now the only way that de here would change is if the word that followed it actually started with a vowel, and in that case we'd say des apostrophes. So il y a beaucoup de livres literally translates to there are a lot of books. We also learned about partitive articles. The English equivalent are the words some or some of. In French, those are du, to be used in front of masculine objects, de la for feminine objects, de l'apostrophe in front of any noun that is singular and starts with a vowel, and then de for any noun that is plural. So to give you an example, elle lit du livre de temps en temps. She reads some of a book from time to time. We use du to say some of the book when we just want to say that we have part of something. We often used this when we were talking about food. Demonstrative adjectives are something that we learned near the end of French 1, and demonstrative adjectives in English are the words this, that, these, or those. The French equivalent are ce, cet, and c'est. As far as gender agreement goes, remember ce and cet are both used in front of nouns that are masculine. But cet, C-E-T, is used in the cases where we have a masculine noun that starts with a vowel or a vowel sound. Cet, C-E-T-T-E, is used in front of anything that's feminine. And for anything that is plural, we want to say these or those, we'll use C in front of that. So to show you an example, ce livre est marrant. This book is funny. We use ce here in front of livre to be very specific to say this book or that book. We also learned last year that if you add the words la or si hyphenated after the noun, that's the difference between specifically saying that one or this one. But it's much more specific to use ce in front of livre than saying le in front of livre. Le livre est marrant would just simply be the book is funny. But saying ce livre est marrant is saying this book is funny. Interrogative adjectives are often used as a question that uses a demonstrative adjective and its answer. Interrogative adjectives ask the questions of which or what. And those are the quels, or quel, and quel. Quel with one L for masculine objects, quel with two L's for feminine objects, and you just simply add an S to both forms to make them plural. The S is always silent, as it always is in French words, unless the word that follows it starts with a vowel. Here's an example using quel. Quel livre tu préfères? Which book do you prefer? So we choose the spelling of quel based on the gender and number of the object that follows it. Now lastly, I'll talk about possessive adjectives. And these are used when we want to show who an object belongs to, or when we want to show possession. Now remember, mon, ma, and me are the three ways of saying my. Mon in front of things that are masculine, or anything that starts with a vowel. Ma in front of things that are feminine, and then me is used for all things that are actually plural. Ton, ta, and ti to say your. Son, sa, si used to say his or also to say her. Notre and nos are the two different ways of saying our. Notre when it's something that's singular, nos when it's something that's plural. Votre in front of, to say our in front of a noun, and then vos in front of plural our, so like our books. Leur and leur are both used to say their. Leur without the S when whatever it is one thing, and leur with the S whenever it's whatever is theirs is more than one object. So mon, ma, mes, ton, ta, tes, son, sa, c'est, notre, nos, votre, vos, and leur. You might have learned it to a song. But to show you some examples, son livre est grand. His book is big. We use son in front of livre to be specific to say this book is his book. Son livre est intéressant. Son livre in this instance means her book, because you can see it's illustrating a picture here that's her book. Her book is interesting. Et mon livre est ennuyeux. My book is boring. One more example using possessive adjectives. Notre livre est fantastique. Our book is fantastic. There's only two different ways of saying our, notre and nos, but because in this example, livre doesn't have an S on it, it's singular, we use notre. If I had added an S to livre, that S would have been silent, but we would have used nos in front of it to say our books are fantastic. One other thing I want to point out with possession that you might not remember is that to be specific and to show that something is owned by someone, you can't actually use an apostrophe S in French like we do in English. That's a big no-no. So to say Madame B's book, you actually have to say le livre de Madame B. So here's an example using that. Le livre de Madame B est sur son bureau. Madame B's book is on her desk, or literally you're saying the book of Madame B.
Okay, so I hope that all sums it up for you, so the next time you need to write a sentence or say a sentence, you'll know which words to choose in front of the nouns. Au revoir les élèves!